I'm recording now.
Okay.
So Lorenzo's getting online. Lorenzo Savage is the
How's it
gentleman
going?
who is. Hey, Lorenzo. Lorenzo.
Yes. How's it going today?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Daphne. This is
Hey,
Daphne.
Daphne.
Hi, Daphne.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Great. So let me do a quick roll call here and introduce everyone. So I'm Kevin DeVito. You know me. Daphne Moore is city manager for East St. Louis. Can you hear us clearly, Daphne?
I can.
Great. Elliot Hartley, uh, Esri Guru, out of Sedba in northern England. You there, Elliot?
Yeah, I'm there. Hi. Well remembered.
And Lorenzo Savage uh, with BIM One.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going, Lorenzo? So great. So are there any other attendees, Daphne, that you're looking to we're waiting for?
No, you can get started.
Fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand the screen has been handed over to Elliot, and what I'm going to try to do is sort of set the table here for the goal of this call, which is for Elliot to talk a little bit about what he's working on in terms of your Esri 3D map, your city map, what questions he has, and what feedback we can get from Daphne and Lorenzo in terms of, bringing this to a point where we're telling the story that we want to tell. So, Elliot,
Yeah.
the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hi. It's nice to meet you both. I'm sitting in my home office in Northern England right now, and it's a beautiful sunny day. And I've been brought on, obviously, to help sort of publish some of the 3D data that you've purchased from CyberCity, as well as potentially combine it with some of the existing GIS data that you might have. And I've been sent a reasonable amount of data and boundary line data sets to have a look at and bring it together. And I thought it would be good to have an initial conversation to find out what kind of mapping you might be potentially looking for with this 3D data, and making sure I don't overstep any boundaries in terms of bringing data up on a publishable map that maybe you don't want, or maybe isn't telling the right story for you guys. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes?
Okay, I can't see the screen, but let me get my life together. Hold on.
Okay.
Well, go ahead and
Yeah.
if I can't see, just go ahead and.
Okay, well, we can send you some screenshots. Kevin is kindly recording this as well,
Okay, cool.
so it should be okay. But basically, you've purchased a large amount of CyberCity data. Those are the 3D buildings of your city. And I really want to have a little bit of a conversation about what you're wanting to do with this data, not just with me, but potentially other things, so that we can make sure we're organized and moving in the right direction. What I'm showing on screen at the moment is some of the GIS data in ArcGIS Online. This was titled The Political Townships, which has some amazing boundary shapes that I haven't seen previously.
Yeah.
And obviously you have this idea of it as a sort of a two-dimensional map, but in this case I'm actually showing it in 3D. So this is on the ArcGIS Online And I hope this is refreshing the screen okay. Lorenzo, can you see it okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So what we have here is the layers and data sets of the neighboring city, as well as your purchased data, and I've put it on a sort of a grey background to enhance the look of the 3D buildings. And really, we can build up layers of data and symbolize them, give them the right colors that are meaningful to your city and to your managers, and bring in something more than just a, hey, here is the police responsibility area, here is the fire department responsibility area. The really neat thing about 3D data and visualizing things in 3D is it really brings home to a lot of people who might not necessarily be used to mapping. It brings it quite, it makes it easier for people to understand, but also gives them an emotional response that says, this is that property. I can clearly see where it is in relation to other data sets. And so I've just switched over to the satellite view that's on ArcGIS Online. And you can see the cyber. Hi, Daphne. Can you see that okay?
I can see it now. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. So we can choose a range of symbology styles with colors depending on height and various attributes you might want to put into these buildings. But this is often the most effective, having a simple white building that gives a clear understanding of the shape and also potentially some of the challenges and opportunities with particular sites in the area. But you can really mix and match. The beauty of GIS and certainly ArcGIS Online is to be able to mix and match these data sets. So if you look at these parcels, you can see there is underlying this data set, there is also the parcel areas that I've got on as a very a light color, sort of a gray outline that you can link other data to. And within that, we have data sets. I noticed that you have this recent release of the opportunity zone mapping. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is, if I zoom out, that is the mapping I've obtained from the Illinois government mapping portal.
Oh, neat.
And obviously, you can put in your own data sets towards that. So now this becomes a little more interesting. So you can see in 3D, you know, it just sort of brings it home. It's not this is something you could have done in a 2D map, but when it's seen in front of you as a 3D, there's a bit more of a impact, isn't there, in terms of the feeling of it and deciding where things are. So you can choose your base map.
And scale as well, you know, height and scale.
Exactly. So you can really see sort of where, and you can provide a clickable interface. So when I click on this, it tells me this is the Southwest region, and it gives me some underlying attribution data, and you can highlight that. Okay. And I can bring in other data sets. So I can bring in the political township areas. And these are outlined in orange here. And this is what I mean when I talk about symbology. I mean the colors that represent the various units. These can be changed to anything you want. And I notice you have this sort of dark blue and purple theme that runs through your website. So I know clearly you have some style related to what you publish. So before we go too far into what layers are published and what colors it might be, this is part of that conversation. But you can also see here's some fire department responsibility areas that are coming in, which are in red, and you can click on these and get some information about them. And here we've got the sewer districts that I've recently uploaded. And again, the colors are subject to anything you want, really, and it just depends on what story you're wanting to tell and what information you're wanting to present to stakeholders.
I like that purple. I like that purple. That's nice.
Yeah, it is it's a good one. Whether we can associate it with sewer districts, I don't know, but these
true.
are sort of the details, aren't they? And then we've got the wetland areas, which is a layer of data, and you can see I've used the transparency to sort of really make certain features appear in the right light, and combined with the 3D data, obviously you can see, say, this area here, you can see areas that might be of concern or opportunity, I should say.
Oh, that is nice.
And so this is really the start. So you can bring this together as a 2D map, which is like a Google map, just sort of a very simple slippy map with the same colors and attribution and things, but you can also bring it into the 3D realm. And the other thing I was looking at producing for you was a sort of a custom app built on this data here. And it's out of the box functionality from ArcGIS Online. And I'll just open it up. So this is where you can integrate it with your website.
Oh, nice.
And bring in some information like this. I took the liberty of taking some imagery from your site so that we could, here it is, so we could put them together. I hope you don't mind too much.
No, I don't. I love it because I would love to have a different picture. I would love to have something like that in the background. Yeah.
So this could be a user, and you put in the 3D buildings and a certain set of layers. This could be your introductory screen that says what it is and what you're intending to do with it. And you click OK, and out pops the city view. And again, you can still interact with it. There's bookmarks that you can pull up in the interface that you can revolve around and choose different layers. So you can say, okay, this is your fire districts, this is your police areas, this is your political townships, and this is the opportunity areas.
Okay.
And you can have the user pick from a range of base maps. Often people like to go to the satellite imagery because it makes sure they can see their house and their interests. And then you can go in and let them use the same interface, that sort of the same layer choice that we had previously, but obviously in a nicer integrated form that you can embed on your city website. Now, I don't think you have ArcGIS Online, but this can be embedded hosted on our ArcGIS Online account and embedded in your site until such a time you have your own infrastructure to copy that over to. But it's all fairly easy to set up. And so I thought this is what we've got so far. Maybe have a little discussion and maybe a think about what you're trying to achieve, and then we can get some details and produce something really, really beautiful and informative for you.
Okay, one of the things that we're trying to do is entice developers to come and redevelop East St. Louis. I want to have a development summit in October, and I would love for this to be the feature, one of the main features of the summit. So I'm trying to figure out how we can do both and then really showcase what we can offer and maybe highlight the riverfront, downtown, and those opportunity zone areas.
Yes.
Through 3D.
You're talking about the interactive map, that they would host temporarily right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And also, I think Daphne, like opportunity zones, he's got that on city-owned property, maybe.
Yes, city-owned property for sure. And I actually do have an Excel spreadsheet of the city-owned property now that I was going to send you all. And then I don't know at this point how we could do the vacant property, unless St. Clair County had a full list.
Okay. So this is where identifying the story you want and then trying to find out where the information is stored is much harder than making the map itself.
Right.
But I see there's a lot of data out there that you might be able to bring in. Can I ask, does the Excel sheet have addresses or coordinates for perhaps the city-owned properties?
Right now, I think it's just addresses, but I'll look to see.
Yeah.
Once I'll send it to you to.
Okay. And what I can do with that is either manually input those city addresses, owned properties into the GIS database that we have here, or get some assistance from you to make sure we're pulling out the right information.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have particular sort of areas that are zoned for development outside of the waterfront? Do you have anything like that can be used?
Well, Emerson Park, Mount Sinai. Now there are some areas, and most of those areas are in the opportunity zone or around the opportunity zone.
Okay.
Do you have the neighborhoods on this
map? Not on this specific one. As I said,
that would
there
be
was
a good one.
Yeah, so there was a lot of data. So I've got a bunch of data here under the. So if not, I can liaise with you to get that. As I said, there's a lot of GIS data I was given. But that yeah.
That's a subdivision area. No, that's not it.
And this will help with, we're trying to make sure we do infill housing. We have a few people who are looking to do some housing projects. So this will be very helpful. Good.
Daphne, one of the things that we've done with some other cities is that we ask, we've helped cities with their online maps to work with developers that submit digital proposals. So in other words, if they're going to do a proposal, they could also make the digital twin of it and give the model to, say, Elliot, and Elliot can integrate it into the city map, and you can then do a presentation and show different views and different development options. And it tells the story. It tells the development story in a different way, and it seems to be very effective. And the big benefit to East St. Louis is, A, you look really modern. You look like you are at the cutting edge of 3D software and technology deployment. You're definitely showing up St. Louis across the river, and you're getting great city branding and showing that you're really putting attention and intent behind the economic development plans that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Daphne, like you said, for that presentation, maybe you can have the comprehensive or the Mid America plan. Are you still doing the medical district downtown?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have the PDFs for those product models, but if you can get them from Wolpert, they have the CAD drawings. Wolpert is the design company. So I'm with you on that to get.
Okay, maybe we can sit down and try to get all the information from those drawings and plans that we are going to try to implement.
Yeah, the transit-oriented development. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
And then those 100 houses you was talking about. I think to show those. Okay. So I made a list of what I need to work with you on that. That's
a great view, Elliot.
It is.
Yeah.
It shows you've got the the developed city right across the river. You've got all these economic units that are really represented in the map, and then you've got these areas of opportunity that you can just layer in and communicate. And I think I really think Jack Dangerman of Esri they would promote this. They would publish this in the Esri ARC magazine. I'm sure if we wrote a white paper, on the journey that we're taking in terms of
that would be great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They do. Esri does like to hear about sort of success stories, and they like a range of success stories from the very small scale to the sort of simple implementations up to the sort of the bigger ones. And it's just showing the true range of useful tools that are out there nowadays. And I think any work we do for you now will not be, in the past when you've done any 3D work, it's often been thrown away because it's only for use on one person's machine or something else. This truly is, you can build on each year on year, you can build on the success of the previous year with GIS data. You can always build and improve as you move forward. So something like this will form a foundation for you going forward.
And see down at the bottom, in the middle there, where you have all those little houses. Yeah, go back to your right a little bit.
Down here?
Right there.
Here.
Zoom in there. That's Sinai Village that Daphne was talking about. These are new homes that they've built. And then you see there's another 30, I think, that are coming up behind it. So I think this is one that we want to put a particular color to and highlight.
And maybe we can do the same in Emerson Park.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get an overall map, I think, to mark up like this, because I can add the riverfront rendering, the models that I have for the riverfront, Daphne.
Okay.
Is that something that we can do with this color overlay like this? I don't know.
Yeah, so there's a number of things we could do here. I could share with you, if you have an ArcGIS Online organization account, I can share with you this data set and this visualization, or I can give you a temporary login.
Yeah, SketchUp is what I use mostly.
Okay, but I can give you a temporary login, and then you can explore it for yourself, the data set. And then you can zoom in, take a screenshot, highlight that area. We can discuss details of how you want to share that. If you're mainly SketchUp, this won't work in that environment particularly well.
Yeah, it's tricky, right? So yeah, I'll mark it up because again, like you said, we have public housing that we want to identify. So then you'll be able to see hot spots, like you're saying, of crime issues. Things like that the whole city can utilize. So I'm excited. I've got to tell you guys, just looking at the map and being able to envision, the future uses of it. Like you said, we're just building the platform right now and the foundation of which we're going to continue to build on. So thank you.
Yeah, and I do want to make this, like I said, a big feature this year of everything that we're doing with the 3D and see how we can market it. Not just in this region, but, in other places to show what we're trying to do. And, of course, I would need your help to do that, but we really want to market, revitalizing East St. Louis and the ways we can use 3D to do that, to be an economic development tool.
The other thing, Daphne, this is Kevin, that we discussed was stimulating your own future GIS department, your own entity, and getting maybe get some grants, from Esri on getting some software, and maybe bringing in an intern, a GIS, someone who's getting a degree in geographic information systems, geography, and getting them to work on this type of stuff, and maybe even bringing in a GIS person down the road that can manage maps. And there's plenty of work for, given, you have to look at the city budget and how you want to staff and how you want to do all that. but you can outsource a local consultancy, or you could bring in somebody or get some Esri training yourself. But, long term, I mean, Elliot's there. Elliot's an expert. You're not going to find anybody with his expertise with Esri software in the region there. But there are some Esri representatives, and there are people that can definitely work with these maps and keep them up to date, and work with Elliot to sort of deploy new mapping information, as Lorenzo was pointing out earlier. So that's something we're trying to stimulate here also, is like, how does the future look in terms of building the map for your economic development?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks great, Elliot. Really, really great graphics. I mean, you're translating that. Think about it. You're translating that over a GoToMeeting, which is terrible resolution anyway, and it looks pretty incredible. It must look amazing on your screen.
It looks very good, and it helps that there's high resolution satellite imagery there as well. But I think what's amazing about it isn't. I mean, you've been very kind in saying I'm an expert in that, but this is genuinely something that's very easy for people with minimal GIS background to keep and maintain going forward. And the goal here should be to embed the knowledge with you guys and us to walk away with really a successful implementation that works for you.
Absolutely, do the handoff. That's the whole point, is to do a knowledge transfer so that Lorenzo and Daphne and her team out there can continue this effort and bring in these tools, which are very high return on investment because you have a good long-term benefit from it. So next steps. We have a few next steps that were mentioned. I am recording this, so I'll send it to you, Daphne and Lorenzo and Elliot, so if you want to review it. But we probably should try to memorialize a couple of good next steps, which is you're going to send some files, Daphne, to me, some on the city-owned property, I believe it is. And I think, Lorenzo, you have all the SketchUp files. We gave you all these files in SketchUp, the buildings anyway. So you've got some stuff that you may want to do. And if there's any other GIS data, what we found is that the county has a pretty, has GIS data, but that we felt that the GIS data for East St. Louis, there hasn't been there's not a mapping department there, so there hasn't been a lot of survey mapping data that's been accumulated in your city. And so one of the things we want to try to do is look at if there's any other data that we could grab, as you two had mentioned on this call, or if there's maybe down the road this summer we want to do more stuff, like maybe take some terrestrial photos of some building facades and do some really high resolution building presentations in specific areas, or you may want to do some geospatial, technical work in terms of, looking at sight lines or how things are going to look from street view. And so there's a lot of interesting ideas, but it's got to come from the city first, and the city's got to decide where's our best return on our resources.
Okay. And I'll probably get with Lorenzo. I just met with the planning department last week to kind of talk about some of our needs and what we were doing with the 3D mapping. So I'll sit down with him. We did meet with Earl McDowell to talk about GIS and getting some information that he used to have for East St. Louis, and then how we can link with his company.
Yeah, that would be great, because Earl's your local, isn't he, the local Esri rep?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great. I'll send some of these screenshots to him, and get him going a little bit as well, and try to see if we can. I'm going to be at the Esri conference in July. He might be there, so I'll try to maybe have a cup of coffee with him and say hello.
And in terms of action from my side, I think I'll get Lorenzo either some kind of access to this, or we'll explore ways of being able for him to direct me in some of the data creation there. And I'll liaise with you both, Daphne and Lorenzo, about sort of look and story you want to tell. There seems to be some planning sites that you want to look at and encourage people to invest in, as well as displaying sort of the successes you already have in the city. So that would be good to circle back on. We'll start with the basics first, though.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'd love to see it published on your website, so you could actually put a mapping section on the East St. Louis website, and
that would be awesome.
Yeah, show the 3D map so people can check it out, and and they can leave emails and ask questions, or learn more about the city, and developers can maybe get a new view of the city in an interactive way, and so you'll be just like cities like Boston and Cambridge that are doing this. Some other cities that we work with, Raleigh, Durham. So high-profile cities, you're right there with them now. So that's what we want to do.
Well, that's awesome. And the other thing that we're hoping to do this fall is we're working with SIUE to do a marketing campaign, and I definitely want to feature this in our marketing campaign. They're going to do something for us pro bono.
Awesome.
So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I love that. I like that view, Elliot. How did you get that transparent view on the buildings?
I'd say it was magic, but it's just a setting.
Modest. These English guys are really modest, Daphne. You'll find this out. Work with them.
It's all the tea I drink, honestly.
Exactly.
And the great thing is, like I said, once we start adding colors, you can have the historic buildings, historic district downtown. So Daphne and I'll get back together here and try to get some of you guys.
I mean, one of the cool things. Yeah, one of the cool things would be to identify the city-owned buildings, so you could see them. If you highlighted these in sort of a bright blue, you could see them in the distance. Which ones, where you've got the ownership, where you've got a bit of control and city presence in the area. So when you start, careful use of colors is really effective in this sort of scenario.
Yeah, beautiful. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, we'll make some nice posters for the city office. Some nice, make some nice content.
Yeah.
We'll do some PR. I'm excited. Okay. I really get behind the cities when I work with them. That's the thing about Esri. They love it when I'm working with their software because I got a big mouth, but they don't like it if I'm working with competitive software because then they get mad at me. But they'll be happy when I'm promoting their software.
And we can promote this with the city of St. Louis and the St. Louis Economic Partnership, who works with the city and county. And I have a good relationship with them. So when we do our summit in October, this will be a good opportunity to bring them over and highlight this, because I want to bring some heavy hitters in the region for our conference.
Yeah, I agree. Let's prepare for that. 1, you can do a PowerPoint. 2, you can do an interactive map, and 3, you can have it on the city website, so you can tell people that they can access it and use it for their planning. So you're going to be busy, Lorenzo. Are you going to the Esri conference in July in 2 weeks, Lorenzo?
No. I've been swamped at work myself, but I'll be with Daphne here, so we want to be ready for that summit in October. So definitely, I'm excited about starting to mark this up and seeing what filters we're going to add and see what we want to do.
Yeah, and Elliot and I will contact the Esri marketing people and kind of prep them up a little bit and let them know that we're working on this and see if we can get some good public relations support from Esri as well.
Yeah.
Daphne,
good.
I have one question.
I think we're good to go, everyone.
Okay.
I've got this recorded. I'll send the recording to everybody. I will also follow up just with a short email. Lorenzo, let us know any other action items, and totally appreciate it. And we will we'll follow through again. Thank you very much, Elliot, for the.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah,
Thank
you, Elliot,
for the opportunity.
It's been great. We'll circle back with you all soon.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Yep, it'll be the next.
Thanks. And Lorenzo, I'll call you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right. Keep in touch. Bye-bye.
Bye.